Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Craig. Hello, welcome to our review of Black Adam, which came out in insert month. Was it this month it came out?
Yeah,
Or was
no,
it?
it
It
was
was
last
late.
month.
Yeah. So October or November of 2022. This won't come out like next year. Don't worry. We will say right off the bat there are going to be some pretty heavy spoilers
Hell yeah, they will.
about everything, and maybe some pretty foul language, judging by some of my notes which I made on the day. It's got some very naughty words. So if you don't like swearing or you haven't seen it yet for whatever reason, you need to hurry up because it's going to be out of circulation in cinema. Uh,
Don't like swearing, fuck off.
yeah, go fuck yourself. Basically. So yeah, hello. I'm as always joined by Morgan, or
That's me.
which his name I still don't understand, and I am Mitchell, aka Purple Midnight 8, because
Which we don't understand.
yeah, overall good thinking. But yeah, we went to watch Black Adam earlier this week, was
It was on
it? What?
Tuesday.
So it's a few days ago still. And we went in, we were thinking, I think, the week before of going to watch it as a joke.
Yeah, but then obviously we couldn't. It
We
would.
couldn't,
It would have been. Wouldn't finish in time, would it?
no, it would have been long fucking over by the time you needed to go.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
no, you would have been gone long before that had finished.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't, let me just quickly find out when the release date was in the UK because it bothers me. Well, it doesn't have it on Wikipedia, but we have October 3rd in Mexico City. So all the Mexicans out, oh no, not Mexicans. Mexico City isn't, is it Mexico? Yes, fine. Yes, obviously. Anyway, all of you Mexican fans out there of us, you've got to see it first. You've got to see it 18 days before the US. And
Okay.
according to everything, the English like to copy the Americans. So we got it around then as well. So we'll go off the 21st
Fair enough.
of October. Have I forgot where I was going with that? Yes, I have. Anyway, so we've seen it towards the end of its run, hopefully. But judging by the reviews, we were going in with really low expectations.
Well, yeah. I mean, what it got a 5, was it,
I think it was
from IGN?
a 10, and IGN can be pretty hit or miss.
Well, yeah.
The
But
reviews,
then, like, Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 45% though.
yeah. So the general consensus of the internet was this film is meh at best. It's
We
not
went in with some very low expectations, let's face it.
low expectations. I knew the person who served us at the cinema, and we were sort of having a laugh at them. And they were like, "Yeah, it's cheesy, but it's not like that cheesy." And we thought, mm,
It's She said it wasn't a normal Dwayne Johnson film.
"Yeah." But at the end of the day, it's just another film where The Rock played The Rock.
But he didn't do his eyebrow
He didn't smolder. That
at
thing
all.
was that meme. He didn't do that at all for the whole film.
I was a bit disappointed that he didn't do it.
Literally every time it zoomed in on his face, we'd look at each other and do the eyebrow. We're waiting for him to do it because it's if they shoot it in such a way where it zooms in on his face slowly and you expect him to do it, but he doesn't. He
So yeah,
doesn't do. But he isn't the Rock 100% because he didn't do the eyebrow.
every time that I see him do it though, I can hear the boom just from the meme.
Because the internet has ruined it. But yeah, obviously The Rock. If you're slow and don't know who he is, he's The Rock.
An ex-wrestler.
He's an ex-wrestler, and if you want to call him an actor, you do that. He obviously plays Black Adam. He plays
Well,
Bull- he's called Tef Adam, which I guess is like the title from I think it was It was many years ago, about 5,000 or something stupid like that. So obviously
Yeah,
that's
from we'll see.
yeah. He plays
When
obviously Tef Adam, who doesn't get called Black Adam until the post-credit scene, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, Tef Adam, blah blah blah. It's just the Rock going around just being the Rock again. So yeah, I guess that was the main drawing point is that just because he's in so many big films, people will be like, "Oh yeah, he's good. This could be good because it's the Rock, and he's in a lot of big
yeah,
films."
this film must be good. It's got The Rock in.
Yeah, except when we finally arrived at said cinema after we got in, there was hardly anyone in there.
Well, it
It,
was like a weekday
it was
early
like
in
a
the morning.
but it was midday. We got in there for about one
Like
o'clock or
10 past
two.
2.
You know, but like even so, you'd think it'd be a bit more.
Plus, it is 2.5 hours.
It was 2.5 hours, and it felt like it.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
dragged.
It's like when I looked at the time and you still got an hour left of this. Your face just dropped.
Yeah, by that point of the film, you're expecting it to start coming to that climax because it's dragged so long. And when he told me we still had an hour left, I was just close to giving up and calling it a day.
it,
'Cause it was, oh,
it did feel long.
it felt so long. It felt like two films put together because it had, as I just said, it has that moment where you're watching it, it gets to the point of the story, they're like, cool, you think it's going to end, and then it doesn't.
But the thing is, with it, it was action scenes, then a slow scene, then an action scene, and then a slow scene, and then it ended with an action scene again.
It was literally like that for the whole film. And most of the dialogue was an interesting choice. I
It was.
do have lines in here which I'm happy to bring up because
It
they so the
also when the mother and the son were talking to each other in points, you could clearly see it was dubbed because their mouths were not moving with the words they were saying.
yeah. So before we get into odd bits of the actual film, let's actually start with the beginning. So this is set. The beginning is set according to Wikipedia in 2600 BC. So
And
to say that
kinda,
in well, the same place it takes place in later on, obviously, is Karnak. So I will apologise very early on. We are going to absolutely butcher some fucking names because
that's how you
I've read
say kinda. We watched the whole film, them saying it like that.
we've wrote the cast. I've wrote the cast down because I did all the hard work. Some of them will have some names I can already tell I will struggle to pronounce, but we'll get there. So apologies in advance for when I butcher it. So yeah, the opening scene sets off the usual exposition dump you would expect from DC. You get the backstory just all thrown at you at once, and you're just expected to take it all in.
No, a child backstory. So it's got to be a child with DC.
It's got to be the child. It's got to show the traumatic past of how the dad dies and the mum dies. Blah blah blah.
They've,
The
they've
usual.
got a Batman it, let's face it.
And let's. It's an interesting like bit of scenery. They could have done it. It's DC. It's not like they haven't got the budget, but they like to. They seem
It
to like to skip out on actually doing something practical
it
because
did have some terrible CGI in.
whole opening was just CG after CG. It was just the whole temple was. It was all shot in black and white as well. I think
But no, it wasn't black and white. It was just faded.
it was just very darkly lit.
But like I said in the cinema, it was done with old films were filmed like The Mummy,
It was the
like
Mummy. I have written
Clash
down
of the Titans, like those are like old Greek films.
CG with this weird like filter put over.
Yeah,
It was pointless putting the filter over, but for style, I guess, which the film definitely sort of lacked in. But
yeah,
the temple, all of that, I turned and said to you that gave me major Scorpion King vibes from it because that
yeah.
just abundance of CGI all slapped into one, the time periods. It was just like
Oh yeah, definitely.
it was just like yeah, and obviously it's a rock. It's the Rock in two different films, so I had to make the comparison in one way or another. Give me that. So we meet the king, the big dictator, who is Acton,
King
I believe
Arcton,
it.
yeah.
Who when I was googling the cast just before we made this, is also played by the actor who played Ishmael, who is our main antagonist of the film.
It was the
Marwan.
same guy, was it?
It was the same guy, yeah. But obviously he had a beard and a wig on, and they must have done something to his face. His name is Marwan Kanzari, who you recognise from a different film, and for the life of you, you could not remember what it was.
It was
And I
Aladdin.
can't remember. It was Aladdin,
He
yeah. He
played
played.
Jafar.
He played Jafar. Jafar, yeah.
Jafar.
He played Jafar. I can't remember anything about the 2019 version of Aladdin other than I fucking hated it.
Will
I
Smith.
absolutely just.
Really.
Will Smith was like 90% CG.
Oh yeah.
Also, I'm looking at the cast of Aladdin right now, and obviously you've got Will Smith, you've got the guy who plays Aladdin and Jasmine. Marwan Kanzari is not credited as playing Jafar. He's just blank.
Oh nice.
Reason he's just blank. So you just got to guess who he plays. Yeah, as I say, he plays King Akhtun, and also Ishmael, who is from the get go, from when you meet him, you know something's up with him.
He's
There is no
obviously a bad guy.
There is no question, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we meet him. He creates the crown, which is like the centerpiece of the film. That's what our protagonist, other than Black Adam, is like trying to protect, so that Ishmael can't take
And
over the world.
it's also made of titanium as well, ain't it?
Mm. And I
Which is
said to you,
obviously
it's a very much chemical. But they even pour the gold out, and I was very much like remembering the scene where Jason Momoa, ironically, pours the gold over that dude's head.
yeah.
And I thought that's right. Yeah, that is crazy. So we have these cool shots of where all the slaves digging up. Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
Titanium.
That Eternium. Thank you. And they dig up Eternium. One of them finds it, and one of
Basically it's
them,
like
I don't
blue
think he has
crystal.
it. For context, it's basically Black Adam's kryptonite
Basically, yeah.
because he gets hit by a missile that uses it later, and it actually hurts him. And they are shown shooting him, and they are literally just bouncing off him, normal bullets. But he gets hit by the missile, and it hurts him. They
Well,
dig it up. They
it's
take
the
it up.
thing that gave him his powers. So really, it should be the thing that also
Yeah,
takes away his powers.
yeah, pretty much. Other than obviously yelling Shazam,
Well, yeah,
but yeah, one of the slaves digs it up, takes it to the guard, and obviously typical trope. He's like, "Oh, I was told I'd get rewarded," and the guard's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure." Just kills the guy.
that's off a
Very,
cliff.
very thing is just well, he stabs him and then throws him off, doesn't
Yeah, down a very horrible CGI cliff. Should we add?
he? Yeah, it didn't. It did not look good. It was a CGI cliff, and they threw a CGI body over, and somehow it clashed so badly. Like it was like they CGI'd a layer for the cliff itself, and obviously the bottom of the
And
pit
then
or whatever
him,
it is in the. And then they CGI'd him over it, but it was like two completely different looking objects. It just looked.
it did look really
But
bad.
yeah, then as I say, spoilers. Tef Adams' son, who is in the intro lined up to be like, oh, look, it's Black Adam. It's Black Adam's origin. He comes up, he talks to him, and the guard is like, do you want the reward as well? And then Black Adam's like, no, 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 no. So then, blah, blah, blah. There's
The dad
all the,
comes
like,
to them.
yeah. The dad is, his face is concealed. It's basically Resident Evil 8.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Because
Obviously, they didn't
then they
want to show
look,
it off too early. the twist of it, should I say?
But then they have the destruction of when Black Adam, Black Adam's son goes in. It's lined up to look like it's Black Adam doing it. Well, his son doing it because he's telling the story. He goes through, he annihilates it, he kills the king. But later on in a scene later on, we see that in reality it was Black Adam after his son was killed after he came back and his dad was hurt. It's just convoluted nonsense. They could have just been like, it was just Black Adam the whole time.
Yeah, they had to confuse it.
Yeah, when they show Black Adam getting his powers, would you get the cameo from the wizard in Shazam? Played by, I'm going to butcher this, Jimon Hunsu? I apologise. He's in quite a lot of stuff. But of course, he was, as I say, he's the wizard in the original Shazam who gets...
He's also a bad guy Guardians.
Bad guy Guardians of the Galaxy, I should say. He's in a lot of things. He's a big character actor, essentially.
He was in Fast and Furious 7.
I don't care. There's too many of them already. The over the voice monologue. This is like 15 minutes of just like expedition dump. And then we get the stupid line when the flashback is about to the end of the hero was never seen again. 15 minutes in a 2.5 hour long film.
Until
so I was just like, we better go then, because clearly the film's over.
Film's over. Great film.
Yeah, then we get to meet, once the flashback is over, we finally get to meet one of the protagonists of the film, who, good grief, we couldn't stand, Eamon.
Well, it goes to Karnak and present day as well, don't it?
Yeah, it shows Karnak, which is still basically how it was that many years ago, except worse because it's modern day.
So it's modern day buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we meet. Oh, sorry, I've got my timeline completely mixed up. First, we get to meet the female lead of the film, Adriana.
Thought you meet the kid first. Thought you see the kid first.
Really?
Yeah, you see the kid skateboarding first.
I'm reading the Wikipedia plot like breakdown as well, just to remind myself. But also, it just skips it. It just skips all that scene with him. We meet Adriana's son Eamon, played by Bodhi Sabongui. Again, I apologise for butchering. Who is also listed on my notes. As I say,
this is an annoying character.
If you're not a fan of swear words, he's in my notes as cunt child.
Jesus.
Yeah, I did put a warning in then and before.
He was pretty fucking shit.
He has some pretty bad acting, typical of a child actor. Really, he does have some good scenes. Like, it's not all bad. Most.
Does he?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I'm trying. Yeah, he goes to this checkpoint where he meets one of the mercenaries, who is a mercenary, as we found out later in the film, and all in my notes is mercenary until we find that they are. And I said to you, if I find out they're not actual mercenaries, my notes are ruined.
Well, yeah, it said at the start of the film that they're mercenaries.
Yeah, so he tries to skateboard past this mercenary, and he stops him, and he says, "Like I've told you before, your wheels equals being a vehicle."
Get at the back of the line.
He basically sends him to the back of, tries to send him to the back of the line.
It was some great British acting as well.
It's basic, as I have in my notes, English equals bad. I'll get back to that. But yeah, they have that. It's just basically a distraction so that the other characters, which are in a van at the checkpoint as well, can get through. So then the van just takes off, and then he follows him. And then we finally get to meet his mother, who's Adriana, as I said.
He's hiding in the back of the van.
She's being smuggled over the checkpoint because she is being hunted by who I can see on the Intergang is what they're called, which is a stupid name.
The RPG.
The entire time they were talking about them, I could not understand what they were called.
No, I couldn't.
The whole time, I don't know if it's just how the dialogue was written, but it was it was just difficult to understand how what they were called.
It was how quickly they were saying it as well.
So she's being hunted by them, and then she basically gets out of the cover because, like, just because you pass the checkpoint doesn't mean like you're not.
Doesn't mean there's other people there.
It's just like, oh, we're safe now. Guess I'll just be in the open for a bit. And then Eamon comes up to the side. He starts talking to her. And she's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing
He
here?"
does a fake jump scare as well on the window.
Yeah, that's stupid. And that is just, oh my god, the dubbing of the lines is.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. So mouths weren't even moving at points.
Yeah, it's a lot of shaky cam.
It was whenever he was on the skateboard, it was dubbed.
It was dubbed, and you can tell that isn't when they were editing the film, it was not lined up properly.
Oh no, definitely not.
Because understandably, you're not going to have the best audio when you're recording, well, physically rather than CG in it. Which obviously the amount of CGI in this film, I wouldn't have been surprised if they CGI'd that whole van and just did it like that and called it a day. But your audio is obviously not going to be good when you've got a road full of cars and wind. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
But the dubbing, very much the audio and how they were speaking was not matching to what you would think.
They were speaking faster than what they were saying.
It was faster. Like they were. You think I haven't tried skateboarding next to a van, but I guess you would have to raise your voice in order to get your point across. But
I mean, yeah, you'd have to go over.
But yeah, that dubbing was awful.
It really was.
They're safe, and we go to the desert in the next scene. I think that's what that's saying. It's not important enough to be on the Wikipedia thing, so I can't remember it. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Then obviously, when the van, you meet the three other characters.
Yeah, the three other characters. We've got Samir, who is pointless of a character. You've got Uncle Kamir, which is we kept calling Jerry because of Cooper Andrews who plays Jerry in The Walking Dead, and that's where Jerry's from.
A lot like him, just a Middle Eastern version.
Basically the same, but he's cool. He's one of the best characters. He was basically chewing up scenery everywhere he was. Yeah, we call him Jerry because he was very similar. He was that overly friendly. Basically, he was the comic relief of the film, despite
he was the fun uncle of the film.
The uncle. So you have Kamir, you have Samir, and then you have Ishmael, who we spoke a little bit about before. We'll get into him in a moment. But they get to this big, like, is it in a mountain, the tomb?
Yeah, it's like way in the desert, ain't it? In one of the side of the mountains.
Yeah. And as I said to you, I said it was very much they had seen Moon Knight and was like, that's where we're going to put it as well.
Oh yeah, it was very Moon Knight-y.
And the tomb, I have to put in quotation marks because they're like, it wasn't a tomb, it was your prison. The tomb or whatever it was, whatever you want to call it, was also where Shazam, that's the name of the wizard, isn't it?
Yeah, Shazam is the name of the wizard.
Shazam, which isn't Zachary Levi, as I say, is the other gentleman whose name I won't embarrass myself pronouncing again. He was there. That's where they get Von Bannerman's powers. And then everything.
But it's not where Shazam gets his, though.
That's not where Shazam gets his, or is it? Because he does sort of get teleported to get his powers, doesn't he?
No, because He gets his from where that throne room is in Shazam. There's obviously the room where it's got the 7 seats, and then it's got the broken one for where Adam was.
Yeah, it doesn't have all the sins on the walls. So yeah, that is a different place for some reason. It's a much more circular room. But somehow Shazam the wizard is in a different place somehow. Many years later. He's the only surviving wizard after Black Adam easily overpowered them all. Well,
Apart from him.
apart from him, conveniently, because he has to survive till Shazam. But yeah, it's just stupid. But anyway, they enter the tomb. Samir goes for a walk, and Ishmael follows him off screen. And then we cut to Samir in the van singing along to "Baby Come Back,"
Oh, that was a great scene.
which is wonderful. As I say, he is just the comedy relief character. He's singing along
He's the Jar Jar Binks of that film.
pretty much. So he's singing along. It cuts to like him behind him from the back passenger seat. And he sees Samir just plummet into the rock and just he doesn't even die from that straight away.
No, he does.
No, he sort of coughs up blood for a minute. I remember it being a lot of it. Yeah. So he hits the rock, he coughs up blood because Kamir gets out and runs to him. And he's like, oh no, what happened? And he's just sort of coughs up blood and dies. And very conveniently, the mercenaries arrive. Just as that happens.
Just as that suspiciously happens.
Yeah, at the time you're thinking like, oh, well that's weird. How do they know where to go? But with Ishmael being later revealed to be like the leader, excuse me, as the leader.
Spoilers, jeez.
I did say spoiler warning very early on,
but it seemed to be like it's Black Adam that killed him.
Yeah,
because the way he hits the rock, it was like he was thrown out of the air.
He falls with an insane amount of speed for someone who should have just fell.
Yeah.
It's shot. Obviously, it's a CG before it cuts to him actually being nearly dead on the floor.
Yeah, being there.
They wouldn't physically drop a man out of the sky.
Yeah, they might get sued for that.
Not until Black Adam starts actually doing it lately. But yeah, he hits the rock. It's so much. The velocity of which he falls is an unreal amount of speed that could happen for someone falling.
But I know the mountains that were that high, that they were at.
No, and there definitely wasn't any visible holes on the wall that he could have been pushed out of. So it cuts back in once Kamir is arrested by the mercenaries outside. Cuts back in, and then Ishmael comes back after disappearing off screen and obviously killing Samir. Ishmael comes back, and then Adriana, who we said definitely is modelled after early Tomb Raider Lara Croft.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft, she was definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely inspired or just a direct rip-off. Blue tank top, the cargo trousers, the scarf. As I say, the tank top was the biggest indicator that we thought it was going to be inspired by it.
I am surprised she didn't have 2 pistols on her.
Didn't have any, did she?
No.
Yeah, she's in there. Ishmael comes back and she's like, "Oh, where's Samir?" And then he goes, "Oh, he's claustrophobic." Which even then is just like, well, he's clearly the bad guy.
Yeah, this is the way he goes. He's claustrophobic. He's gone out to get some air. It's like, well, that seems a bit dodgy.
And may we just say, this is quite a while before he's revealed as our bad guy. And that is such an obvious giveaway to let off.
It's a good, half an hour after.
Yeah, easily. It's a good
you find out that he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he's put in. I I think he's just called obvious traitor until I learned his name. But yeah, he's comes back. He's obviously like, oh, he's claustrophobic, and then it's just like, well, you're the bad guy, then, aren't you?
And
So
then
yeah, they go to they find the crown levitating in midair.
they go to the tomb.
Yeah, they read on the floor. They read that it's nonsense, bloody crap. If it's religious, I apologise.
Plot
But to us,
reason.
it's it's just exposition written on some stone. They look up and the crown is sat there. Well, it's not sat there. It's floating for whatever reason. And Adriana decides to climb the rocks, which obviously is the only way of getting up there because it's floating for some reason.
But it's the fact that
And
she didn't look at it and go, well, why is that floating?
yeah,
Like,
they just
like,
they're brushed off this magic floating crown. So she sits on the rock. She reaches her hand out like she can reach it, but it's not straight ahead of her. It's like quite high up. It's a good few
it's
feet
like
up.
diagonally up.
Yeah, it's like a good. It's just it's above her. It's not within arm's reach. So she sat there. She reaches out to it, which is very obviously not where it is. I don't know if that was a bad like stage direction or whatever the director gave her. But then I said to you, I said she's going to have to jump it. Why is she bothering?
And then she
I mean, there
jumped.
was, and then she jumps it and catches it, obviously.
And then
And she
all
comes
the
back round.
mercenaries appear, conveniently.
Then a large group of mercenaries silently got into this echoey ass cave, and they've got Camille. They're pretending to take Ishmael hostage because he's a bad guy and it's not part of his plan yet. They're like, oh, as I say, he's in my notes. He's just credited as bald merc, bad actor, comma English equals bad because he's British.
He was a bad actor.
I'd had to Google it because I recognised where he was, and he played a character in Z Nation. And this is a TV show made for sci-fi that did Sharknado. There's all them sort of low budget CGI monstrosities, except for DC. So yeah, he was not the best. They meet him, they have a standoff. He's basically like blah blah blah, give me crown or me shoot, man. But obviously, she doesn't give him the crown, does she?
Uh, yeah, she does.
She has it in the case.
Yeah, no, yeah, she
I think she.
no, she put hands in the crown and he puts it in the case.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
And he,
it's his case. Obviously, he brings it.
So they have a gun to her head. They literally, I think, say to her any last words. She touches the stone. Then she goes off in the lie of being like, "Oh, tell my kid," or whatever it is, and then reads the stone. And because she's reading it out loud, that brings him to life. Considering she kneeled on it, why does it have to be the hand and read it? And you can see as she's reading sentence by sentence, the light it's just a lightning bolt form. A blue lightning bolt. She reads it all out, and then he explodes out and disappears up into the sky.
Yeah, she
And they're
obviously
like, "Oh, what was that?" Comes back.
she says she's
Go on.
Shazam, don't she?
Yeah, she says Shazam. He erupts out the floor and lands just in front of where the crown was, behind conveniently every mercenary,
Yeah,
because you can't
yeah.
reveal him yet. Have a mercenary standing there and just obliterates. Not yet. Yeah, that
Oh,
happens. He lands. There is a funny
I'll
scene
be
where. Oh, that's helpful. Anyway, I'll keep going on my own. I think. Well, I won't really. I'll just talk shit for a minute. Yeah. Usually this would be where, because he's gone off for a minute, oh, he's back.
oh, no, I will be back in a second.
Okay, well, I wasn't talking shit to the audience. Anyway, this is where, but usually in a podcast or an episode, you would be like, oh, there's just one on its own. This is where the sponsor would come in. No, we don't have a sponsor. It's just me talking shit to you until Morgan comes back from whatever he's doing. Presumably he's having a shit. Fair enough. I mean, like, yeah. But instead, I'm just sat here talking shit. I'm running out of ideas. I'm not good at improvisation. Oh yeah. As I say, but English equals bad because obviously British people in films usually made by the Americans are bad. Usually we're cast as the bad guys because our accents are scary, or because apparently we sound intelligent. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard either me or him speak, if you've been listening at all. But yeah, we don't have the most intelligent sounding voices. I mean, come on. Like, do I sound it? I'm not exactly PG when it comes to talking. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. As I say, he's probably having a dump. Yeah. I apologise, I'm not very entertaining on my own. I'll stop the recording until he's back.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you again, Craig. We're back. He's done with his shit. So yeah, Black Adam has just landed on the floor, and all the mercs are lined up. And there is a good scene where they all look to each other, and he's like, "I'm not doing it." And no, they look to each other and go have a look." And then they go to the other one. They go,
Go have a look.
This, go have a look. Blah blah blah.
Chief
Then he
gets
reaches the guy at the
look.
end. He turns to look and realizes no one there, and he just sort of goes, "Ah, shit." He goes up. He basically
He
points his
says
gun at Black Adam.
freeze, like
Freeze. And considering like he's not moving, Black Adam just swerves around, like grabs him by the neck and completely disintegrates the guy.
that
And like
it
this
was
isn't just
a cool
like
scene.
you just watch his body like melt. Like all
Literally
the skins
to the
like,
bones.
to the bones, and then the bones just turn to dust. It is brutal.
A lot of that film is
They
brutal, to be fair.
There was a lot of brutal murder. So he basically, they all shoot at him. He's obviously basically bulletproof. He just absolutely decimates this group of soldiers. Just wipes them out.
He's just lobbing them against the walls and each other.
He is each other. It's brutal. And
Really
at one
is.
point, one of them calls for backup, which is important for the point in a minute. One calls for backup, and then the scene basically ends with Ishmael supposedly being crushed under some boulders, some debris.
He's pretending to
And
get the
then
crown,
yeah. So
which turns out it's not the case.
Yeah. He flies out, and then that's it for that bit. So it shows the shot outside of all the mercenaries like rolling up on them. Talking helicopters, Humvees, big fucking trucks full of fucking cannon fodder, basically.
Basically an army.
Yeah. So the helicopters are just pointless. They just see him fly out, and they sort of like laugh at him. Do they fire? They fire a missile at him. Yeah, they fire a missile like point blank at him. Well, not point blank. They direct hit him, and there's that obvious bit where it's like, "Oh, did we get him or not?" Because there's a big cloud of smoke.
Yeah.
And they saw, yeah, mission accomplished. And they
Smoke.
look to the left.
When the smoke disperses, he's not there.
Yeah, the smoke disperses. They're not there, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then they look green screen Black Adam. It's just like grinning at him through the side of the cockpit, and it is just so fucking stupid. You've got this
Again,
big like
it's just
shitty.
the Rock being the Rock.
It's just the Rock killing people brutally. But
Then he just grabs the helicopter and lobs it at the other one.
yeah, no, like the front of it's on fire. Does he? Do they fire another missile at him and he just yeets it into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cockpit's on fire. He grabs the helicopter and yeets it into the other one. Total annihilation.
But the
And
one that
then
he's
it's
thrown
close.
into the other one don't blow up though.
Yeah, it's weirdly inconsistent. Throws it into that one, and then the scene slows down, slow motion. Basically, everything that happens in a DC film. We've got a Wonder Woman, we've got a Justice League, and it's scored to paint it black. Because, of course, Black Adam, very funny wordplay script. So basically, he slow mo annihilates these dudes. He just uses his lightning powers to just zap blows of them. He uses his super speed to pick a grenade out of a guy's hand and slam it in his mouth, which is hilarious.
It probably was my
And
favourite scene out of the film.
it was a good scene. So it wipes these fucking guys out. It speeds up, and the guy with a grenade in his mouth still, just you can hear him go, "Oh no!" and then just gone.
You got a helicopter blade that just decimates someone.
Yeah, the helicopter blades midair. He just like
He taps it, just flicks it so it will go to him, and it was brutal.
horrible. All these
So
guys
many people just died.
just in moments. And then in this time, Camille and Adriana escape, and they see him, and they're like, "Oh, it's you." And it's just some boring dialogue. And then one of the trucks happens to have survived, and a guy loads up one of them missiles. He loads up
It's one of the Eternia missiles, ain't it?
pistols and launches it at him. And
He
it
catches
clearly
it thinking, "Oh, I've caught it."
catches it, and he's like, haha, and then it explodes. And you can see he's got this gash down his left side. And
It also gets rid of his cool cloak.
it gets rid of his cloak, and he's left looking really stupid because they've left such a gap for his, like, the muscles around his neck to protrude. So I think, do they launch a Nook, or does he chuck something at him, and it just absolutely demolishes this dude? He just overkills this one guy. But then he passes out, and then the next scene, he wakes up in Eamon's room after Eamon gets home by that point. I just don't understand that. He goes into Eamon's room. Eamon goes into his own room. Black Adam wakes up conveniently on time.
As he walks in the room.
Yeah, vaporizes this poster of Superman because a little bit foreshadowing. And he's like, Eamon says to him like, "Oh, you're a hero. You saved all those people." And he fucking says back to him. He literally says, "I am no hero." Like, oh god, it's stupid. That kid does not do a good job.
No, he really does not.
But I must say, I did accidentally skip a bit. You get the scene after all them soldiers are massacred, where Amanda Waller, who is played by, I feel bad for not remembering her name, the same actress who has played Amanda Waller in all the other like DC stuff.
Viola Davis, that's her name.
Viola Davis, well done. In both of the Suicide Squad films, the good one and the shit one. Who she doesn't have much like acting range as Waller. She shows up to be angry and that's it.
I mean, that's all that Waller really is.
Yeah. She contacts Hawkman, who is played by Aldous Hodge, who I don't know from anything, but we said he looks a lot like Michael James Shaw, who plays Mercer in The Walking Dead. And
He
his
looks so
haircut,
much like him.
like him, it's just, as you can tell, we like The Walking Dead. But yeah, you have all that. She calls him, and he's just like, "Yep, cool, we can deal with that." We get to meet the rest of his team, who is Atom Smasher. This
He
is
was he was literally played out to be a Deadpool character.
his suit looked like Deadpool. He was stupid. He liked food. He was basically a knockoff Deadpool, including the suit. He's played by Noah Centineo, who, once again, I have no idea who the hell that is.
Pretty terrible actor as well.
Yeah, he was very cringe. And you get Cyclone as well, who is played by Quintessa Swindle or Swindell. She was all right. Her character was fine.
But
She didn't do.
both of them didn't get much screen time.
They didn't get much screen time, and to be honest, the movie could have done without them.
Well, yeah,
All of their scenes were done. Weirdly, their scenes were always together.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
they
like
were.
it was always just like the relationship between them two, and it was very much just like move on with it already. Like
Yeah,
we don't care. And then obviously we meet the joint best character other than Uncle Kamir, Pierce Brosnan as Doctor
his,
Fate.
oh yeah,
Oh my
I
god,
loved it.
he was so good in this. He fully embraced all the stupid shit that was going on, and was
It was
basically
like he didn't give a shit about the film. He was just like, yeah, fuck this.
it's like the script is stupid. You're paying me a lot of money. I will just like show up and just fuck about for probably like the 2 days he was on set or something. Yeah, he shows up, chews scenery. That's cool.
When you first meet him, he has his vision, don't he?
Yeah, it has the vision of just bullshit. It's just foreshadowing of nonsense. That's basically what Doctor Fate is. He can just see into the future and do magic.
He basically Doctor Strange. Let's face it.
It's just DC's Doctor Strange. I mean, they're both doctors. If you have any criticisms for how we're describing beloved comic characters, we don't care.
DC
Like
shit anyway.
we understand that the comics are good. The comics are
But
heaps better than films, but I don't think I've read a single DC comic in my life.
I've read a few, but that's it.
Not
And they've
in,
only
not
been Batman ones.
yeah, not because I don't like them, but just because I don't read much. So please,
Because
well,
he's retarded, folks.
he's just used a bad word he should not use. We apologise. We do not condone the use of the R word or the N word for that matter, which he will not use right now. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we don't. We're just taking the mick out the movie characters. We get it. The comic characters can be different, but the movie ones we don't care. We care very little about them.
They're just meant to be spoofy characters in the films.
They're very much just saw what Marvel did and were like, let's make them funny. And it worked for Shazam, ironically.
But that's
Mainly,
because he's not a serious character, though.
and it's a kid who's been put in the body of an adult.
Exactly.
So like it just makes sense for it to be like that. Because he's meant to have that sort of like early teens attitude and way of thinking, and Zachary Levi does a great job of portraying that.
Zachary Levi is a brilliant actor.
He does a great job as Shazam. That's not Wizard Shazam, but Billy Batson. There you go. So yeah, they go up. They basically I have in mind. Yep. Anyway, completely forgot about that. Atom Smasher is on the phone to his uncle, who is played by Henry Winkler for no reason. Who basically plays the original Atom Smasher,
But that relationship, I think, was meant to play off like Hank Pym and Ant-Man. It was so obviously meant to be like that.
It was just like mental. It's very typical. It's not an original thing that Marvel did.
Well,
Being,
no,
but that was very much that sort of thing. Yeah, we had all that. We said that the Hawkman's estate is basically just the X Mansion,
the
uh,
X-Men. It
Professor
really
X,
is.
gifted children, or whatever it is. It looked a lot like it, and even when the jet flew out of it,
Yeah, literally, the way the floor opened and the jet flew out, it was exactly like an X-Men film.
it was stupid, basically. So we had that. There's a few scenes of just filler, which I'm going to skip over because this is going to be way too long already. We have all that. We have them just basically talking shit to the Black Adam, a couple of little scuffles for a bit, and then we get past that. Then that is the scene afterwards. After that scene, it's then after the scene of the X Mansion, it's then the I'm No Hero burning a hole in the Superman poster. But I
And it's
have,
through walls.
yeah. So the Rock in this film as Black Adam does a lot of awkwardly floating around.
It
They could
was
have
weird.
they could have just had him walk, but he had to float because he can fly. It's just wasting more of the budget making him float. And this he literally walks through walls. He walks through. He walks into the living room or whatever you want to call it in America. They don't call it a living room, do they? A lounge, whatever, where you just sit down and chill and watch telly. He walks in. Kamira's just watching The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and which is a great film with Clint Eastwood. If you haven't heard of it, go to the internet, look it up. And he just keeps walking. He pushes the sofa forward. There's a bit of banter between Kamira and Black Adam. It's just crap like that. It's, as I say, I've tried my best to write my notes, but I'm trying to watch the film at the same time. I'm trying to keep it short with good scenes, but once you get to the mid part of the film, there's a lot of just talking.
There was a lot of talking.
And if it doesn't have, like, Kamir was great. Kamira's always great in that. As I say, well done to Mohammed Amr, who I realised I didn't credit earlier, who plays Uncle Kamir, because he made that film so much more enjoyable by just being excellent comic
Just
relief.
being there.
He's just a very normal dude thrown in way into beyond his depth. Yeah, blah blah blah. Loads of pointless things happen.
I'm no hero again.
Yeah, that was.
Adriana, why did you save me?
Yeah, it's just stupid. Awkward floating, and then in order to get the radio. Oh no, it's not that. It's not that yet. There's some nonsense. At one point, Ishmael shows up, and it's very much like, "Oh, you're meant to be dead."
No,
It's
that's
like,
later on in the film, that is.
well, we did skip a lot.
No, the fight between the Justice Society and Black Adams before that.
Yeah, because there is that. They rock up. Hawkman is fucking sick looking. He
He
looks
was.
amazing. Considering all the CGI nonsense that's in it already, his like outfit, his costume, whatever you want to call it, looked amazing.
But a lot of it was physical. It was only really the wings that weren't, and the axe, I would have said. Not
A
the axe,
lot,
the pommel.
the mace, whatever you want to call it, it spins and shit. It's pretty cool. The outfit, most of it looks practical. The wings, even though being for obvious reasons, CGI looked really good.
It was interesting that they went for metal wings that were made in a suit and not actual wings like the comics.
Yeah, I think
That was an interesting one.
That's an interesting choice of DC to do that, considering they have a history of just making pointless changes. But that was a nice change.
That was.
Hawkman looked really good. Doctor Fate with Pierce Brosnan once again. He looked good until he put the helmet on, and then he basically turned 100% CGI.
Oh yeah.
Considering they had Black Adam hover for most of the film, he did not look good when he had his helmet on.
The whole time that he just had the outfit on without the helmet, even when it had it on, the cape was constantly CGI'd.
Yeah, it just looked really glossy, and you could tell it wasn't practical. Or at least, if it was touched up badly with CGI. So yeah, they have that fight in the square. They knock the statue over, and they basically all the people, including this one extra who had too many lines and was always conveniently where he needed to be for the plot.
Middle Eastern Rick, that was.
Yeah. But he's sort of just there in every scene where something bad happens. That man's not having a good day. They cheer for Black Adam because he's just like legendary hero who saved Kahndaq and now he's back. And they're just like I think Adriana.
They turn up just to arrest him, and the citizens don't like it.
Yeah, they come up and the citizens are just like, you are the bad guys, and Dr. Fate touches Adriana and feels that the crown's in there. So
He grabs her bag, don't he?
Feels the crown is in there, and off screen they switch it with Eamon, which is now lining up to what I was saying earlier with bad guy Ishmael. But yeah, they switch that off screen. Dr. Fate comes up and they're like, we need to have a talk. And she's like, no.
Well, I see as well. They think that they've defeated him. And Smasher punches him into the ground. And they have a bunch of things from Marvel.
Yeah.
Where they tricked him.
Yeah, they show him his homeworld when it's basically
what he used to look like.
They did Thanos with his fucking Infinity Gauntlet showing him Titan again.
And the Hawkman just comes and smashes him in the face.
Man just absolutely bashes him in the fucking face. Yeah, big fight, lots of CGI nonsense. Again, typical of bloody DC. Atom Smasher just holds him under his fist after punching him into the floor. He explodes and does he just disappear? It just flies off, doesn't
he? Yeah, because he makes that massive explosion, don't he? That knocks everyone out, basically.
Yeah.
Then he flies off to the I was going to say castle, but it's more like a temple, ain't it?
Yeah, the ruins of like where the throne room was. That Upton what was on.
He just goes there and awkwardly floats.
Yeah, just the usual, really. So they catch up with Adriana after being absolutely pummeled by Black Adam. And Pierce Brosnan, being Pierce Brosnan, talks to her. It's like, we need to see what's in your bag. And literally, she asks them, who are you? The Justice Society. Like, come on, man. Like, haha, very funny. That's literally who they are. That's literally the title of the group.
Yeah. Because they can call the Justice League.
It's just like... It's not even funny. It's just really awkward.
It wasn't, yeah.
It's played off as a joke to be like, Also, like, that's not a normal thing someone would say.
No. You wouldn't turn around and be like, what do you think you are? You turn around and go, what do you think you are? Some heroes, not what do you think you are? Some Justice Society. Like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, then, as I said, they switched the crown into the kid's bag, and the kid did a runner basically.
Saved in the
So,
back. It's not there.
so he returns. He returns home, and Ishmael is there. Miraculously, he didn't. He wasn't even injured either. There was no like wounds on him or anything.
No.
Considering debris fell on him, but you'd still think there'd be some
Oh yeah,
damage.
big time.
Yeah, he shows up, draws the gun on him. Yes, it's set up to be this big reveal, but after the, as we said earlier, it's so
It's
obvious.
obvious. Bad guy.
So he draws a gun on him. He touches the crown. Kamir's just like run. So Eamon grabs the bag. Uncle Kamir is fucking shot, and we thought he was going to die, and then we would have just hated the rest of the film. He survived.
It was so sad.
It was very sad. He shoots him. He sort of bleeds for a second, and we don't see him for a while. So then Ishmael gets on the radio and is like, he's here, come get him. And then the building is flooded by mercenaries. I mean, fucking packed.
Oh yeah, they're literally on the stairs the whole way up the building.
It's not like he called in like a squad or like some bodyguards. He calls in
It's
like
the whole army.
he calls in basically the same amount the Black Adam vaporized in the desert. But I forgot to say that Eamon escapes in this conveniently placed tunnel in his bedroom just in time before Ishmael grabs him. And it's how we got that many soldiers in that quickly. They they all go up the stairs. No one bothers. It's not even like they check floor by floor. They literally just go up the stairs. They don't go kick
Oh yeah.
doors down. So Eamon then uses his skateboard to like slide along the floor behind some
Which
like
relatively would have made noise from the wheels rolling, but it doesn't.
it doesn't. So he slides along the floor, and then the cloth is there, so it's meant to be like no one can see him on the other side. But the idiot didn't realise there are dudes above him, and one of them spots him.
Yeah. Yeah, Ishmael literally conveniently looks over as he's going past.
It is stupid. So conveniently as well, all his troops are up there, so they have to go down again. Like strategically, you would leave some guys on the front door in case shit like that happens.
Oh
But
yeah.
no, it's down there. So may I add, Ishmael is a couple of floors above him. And so we'll get there. Ishmael is a few floors above him that he can see him by looking down. But Black Adam rocks up. Get it? He
Conveniently.
conveniently shows up just because the crown's there.
Beats the crap out of a load of guys.
Yeah, he beats the crap out of a load of guys, says some stupid catchphrases. And
He says it the wrong way around though.
No. One of the hoverbikes crashes through the wall and grabs him. And then Black Adam conveniently arrives to save him because he flies the bike up.
Yeah.
He beats the shit out of him up there. So yeah, that happens. There's some cringy dialogue between Adam and Eamon, which is annoying because they have basically the same name.
Catchphrase and then kill him.
Eamon then manages to get down the stairs, out the front door, by Ishmael. He's caught by him. Somehow this dude sprinted past more of his mercenaries down the stairs and managed to catch him just in time and hides him inside like the engine compartment of the fleet.
And then somehow gets dressed in half a second.
Yeah, there's another shot where they're flying. He's got a bunch more bikes with him, and all of a sudden, he had enough time to conveniently put all the protective gear on. They were in a rush to get away because the kid had the crown and he knew it, and he somehow managed to get like trousers on. It wasn't even a jacket; it was like a proper like armored top
It was like a full suit.
It was like a full flight suit. If you watch the film after watching this review, you will see that the armored guys who ride the bike already wear like full body suits that are armored, or heavy
Yeah.
gear. But he conveniently managed to get all that.
He was
off
wearing a
set.
jacket and some jeans.
Yeah, he was in like everyday clothes, and then all of a sudden, next shot, he's dressed. Yeah, we have this cool hover bike chase scene where they go and rescue. They try and chase him down. That Black Adam just vaporizes a load of dudes. That's basically all the Rock does in the film, is kill people. Hawkman flies up and is like, "You need to stop killing
Walkman turned
people."
up.
Hawkman, not Hawkeye, whatever I said. Birdman shows up. He's like, "Stop killing people," and he doesn't because he doesn't care. Yeah, it's just dumb. So that keeps going. Hawkman then goes away. We see on the ship that Uncle Kinnear survived, thankfully. So then Black Adam keeps going, and there's the infamous scene of Dwayne Johnson's fucking forehead,
Which you
which
missed.
I missed because I was writing notes, but thankfully I knew what it was from bloody memes. But oh my god, that shot is so bad and so stupid.
It literally is so stupid.
So he eventually catches up to the bike that is meant to have Eamon in it. He picks the guy up. He basically interrogates him for a second and just fucking chucks him. And Dr. Fate shows up and he's like, "Oh, I have it. Like, I caught up to him." And he's like, "Cool, bring the prisoner back and we'll interrogate him."
And he goes, "You killed him, didn't you?"
And he goes, "Anywho, well, yeah." He goes, "You killed him, didn't you?" And then it cuts to over like the Rock's shoulder as he just falls out the sky and hits the floor, and he goes, "He didn't make it." That was a good shit. That was good.
It was funny.
It was stupid. They all meet in this building
Piers
after
Brosnan
that.
was fully embracing it.
It was very much the obvious take out of that's obviously not where he like it's done. So eventually they meet up in the building. No, it's their house again, isn't it? They go back to Eamon and Adriana's house,
Adriana's flat.
which has already been wrecked. They have a bit of an argument. No, he brings the two guys back, doesn't he? He brings the two other drivers, like pilots, back and takes them up into the sky. Talk shit to them. Hawkman goes and rescues him after he drops them. They come back. They have an argument. Another big fucking fight breaks out between Adam and Hawkman, Hawk guy, and it's more CG. It's funny though because Pierce Brosnan as Doctor Fate is he's just sat there. He's just drinking, and every time the fight gets near, like teleports out the way and keeps drinking. Throughout that whole like conflict, Brosnan is vibing. He just doesn't care.
It's like the sarcasm that he's doing as well. It's so funny. And then the Rock conveniently punches the crown.
Yeah, stupid.
Because even though you watched Armin go into it, he somehow opened his bag, put it on the top, opened it, and then went down and it stayed open.
I just don't know. But then they're like, we need to, you know, like, we need to band together if we want to beat the bad guy. So they have that conversation on the ship. They do the big plan, and then they turn to Black Adam to be like, "This is what you're going to do." And of course, he's gone. So he flies up to the quarry or whatever it is, the big mine in the ground where they're harvesting Eternium. And oh goodness, he annihilates people to Power by Kanye West.
Which was
first thing, that song is powerful, but secondly, considering recent events, not the best choice.
But as I said, that film was out before what happened.
Yeah, but it cut very close. If you don't know what he did, I'm not going to repeat it because YouTube will take it down. But he said some very bad things on the internet. Now people don't like him.
Well, nobody liked him anyway.
Nobody liked him anyway because he was an egocentric piece of shit. But he did some horrible. He said some horrible things on the internet, and using that song now, yeah, it doesn't seem like too good of a choice. So yeah, we get to the big confrontation. Everyone's there. By this point, I did say to you that the motives are completely unclear for Ishmael.
Yeah.
He's just bad for no reason. And then you said he's going to be related to him somehow, like that king somehow. And guess what? He's the last descendant of Acton.
Literally,
He literally
like
says,
5 seconds later, he goes, "I'm the last descendant." I was like, wow. It was.
there was a big. Oh my god, it was. Yeah, that was stupid.
I have
So
that.
there's the big bit. He goes
Obviously,
to
I have
shoot. He goes to shoot Eamon, who he has hostage, and the Rock manages to get in and just like backhand the bullet away.
they
But at the same
obviously give
time,
him
just
the crown, don't they? First,
yeah, they give him the crown. They surrender it because Adriana's just like, oh, I'm not going to lose my son like I lost my husband. It's like, oh, it's fucking
but then it
stupid.
turns out he's lying and he's not going to spare him like any other
Yeah.
film.
He shoots him. There's the well, he doesn't shoot him. He shoots a bullet at him. Like he's not far from him. He's the typical. He's stood next to him a little bit of distance away, so that when he shoots his gun, it's not going to hit him. So Black Adam flies in. I
He
turned to you and I
pulls
said,
his face while he's shouting.
yeah. I said to you, I said there was a genuine moment where I thought that they were going to kill that kid, mainly because we hated him,
Well,
but
yeah.
also because there was that split second where it's very much that slow mo where it's like, ooh, are they gonna get it in time? Yes, they do.
But literally, from like when his hand gets to the bullet, it looks like it goes past his hand.
It's like it's just gonna graze his fingers and keep going.
But
But then
unfortunately, he caught it.
yeah, the Rock is shouting at this point, as you said, charging up his Super Saiyan shout.
He gets
And
angry.
as well as the slow mo, all the heroes who have powers to protect people help. They Fate, I think, helped Adriana. Not Deadpool helped
No, it's
Cyclone.
Hawkman does Adriana, and then Fate puts that
Oh yeah,
weird
Fate does it,
circle round the kid.
which still doesn't save him. I mean,
Yeah,
he still survives. It saves him still.
but one of the lightning bolts hits him.
Yeah. Ishmael, may we just say, gets absolutely disintegrated by this explosion. It's just
Oh yeah,
absolutely like it cuts to everyone climbing up the debris, and then it's just like it cuts to his body holding the crown, and he is just a skeleton.
yeah, because Cyclone and Atom Smash are like, oh, we'll find the crown. You lot get back to the ship.
Yeah, so by that point you're just like, oh, the film's going to be over. But no, then the Rock, it's just the Rock. That's
The
just
Rock
all he is.
becomes sad.
The Rock gets sad. He gives off his reasons to why he's like a good guy and like why he is how he is. And then we get the flashback where it reveals that he's been the dad and not the son.
The sun
Because Ishmael,
was the
the son was the original version, the hero that everyone thought was like good.
true champion of Nook.
Yeah. So it
And then
reveals
because
that the Rock in reality was the dad the whole time, except they CGI'd his face onto a smaller man and it looked terrible.
see, like at least for Captain America, they made it
Yeah, hopefully that didn't break.
They just shut
You're breaking up again, Morgan.
his head on them. I was like, "Yeah, go for it." What? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know if that broke up like that in the recording, but basically, Captain America looked much better, but CGI The Rock onto a smaller guy did not work. When I saw it, it
Oh,
reminded me of The Rock being fat in Central Intelligence. Do you remember that film where he was with little
the one with Kevin
Kevin Hart,
Hart. Yeah,
where they have that scene of him like singing in the shower and he's green,
yeah.
he's like pacing. So yeah, The Rock gets injured, and then his son, who, like Billy Batson, has become an adult from having Shazam powers, he comes back to his house, he finds him, he gives The Rock his powers, and then conveniently, once The Rock has the
They go
powers,
Shazam.
well, yeah, they say Shazam and they switch, and then the assassins kill the kid. Conveniently.
We were right though. A kid did die in the film.
A kid did die, which is brave of any film.
You turned to me and
They
went,
can,
"Oh, they did kill a kid."
yeah, they shoot him, and that happens.
The Rock
The Rock, the,
gets
the Rock gives.
attacked.
You're breaking up. I apologise if the recording is terrible. But The Rock is. He sort of screams, but he doesn't give any emotion off. He sort of just goes like, ah, and that's it. Then it cuts to present day, The Rock, and he's not even upset. He's just sort of like giving it off in his usual monotone voice. It's just
And he gives
it's
up
just
his
stupid.
powers.
He gives up his powers. He goes into they take him to the like black site where they keep loads of people like basically frozen. And then by that point, I was like, "Oh, finally, it's going to be the end of the film." No, no.
Here's some more bad CGI.
Yeah. So after a sob story gives up being Black Adam, and then they remember that inside the crown, the translation says that in order for life, there needs to be death or something like that. So
Yeah,
in order for him to get his magic powers, he had to die first.
because he's then
So he goes
magically in
to
the upside down.
yeah, like they turn the crown upside down, and that also mirrors how the underworld looks. And then there's this awful moment where he's stood in the underworld and everything's green screened around him. And basically, all the demons give him powers, and he comes back to life. Oh my fucking god, the CG is terrible.
It was worse than
Oh my,
it was possibly almost as bad.
Hellboy, at least he was done practically. I
Was he
said to
though?
you, I said he was. He was. David Harbour insisted that they do him practically, and they did.
The fight against the
Well,
trolls was terrible.
well, anything that needs CG is going to be bad, but for the most part, it's practical. But I turned to you and I said, it looks like one of the demons out of Get Out of Hell.
It
And then
did.
I said, no, it looks like Tim Curry is Satan and bloody Pit of Death. But again, that was done practically, and he still looked better. And that film was about 40 years old. No,
Oh
it
yeah,
might not be that bad.
it was.
It's
It
an,
was terrible. It was they literally just turned him red, made him muscly, and made him speak in
yeah,
a deeper voice. That was it.
yeah, they didn't bother. His voice has basically got a filter on to make it sound scary. He's literally in my notes. It just says awful demonish man.
It was a terrible reveal of the bad guy.
he needs to sit on the throne in order to take over the world. They they arrive back at the bit where the throne is at the temple, and they fight him again. It's all pointless garbage. Doctor Fate on the way there is like, oh, I decided there's another way that we could do this without you dying, Hawkman. Because then he basically just accepts he's going to be the one to die.
Which was
so
sad.
yeah, all that. He then puts this big force field around the temple, and it's like, it's just me. I need to do this. So he confronts Ishmael, who's, I think his name is Shabak, which is Shabak.
But
That's basically what his character's. He confronts him. They have another Doctor Strange fight where Doctor Fate just becomes more copies of himself.
it was literally Strange versus Thanos.
Yeah. Ultimately, he gets weakened enough that his shield goes down and Hawkman arrives. I think it's just Hawkman, isn't it? I don't even think Cyclone and...
They are there, but Hawk turns up first. Because he's at the front, and at the sides.
Yeah, she shows up just in time to watch Ishmael just destroy Dr. Fate by just punching him, basically.
But the thing is, he runs to him, whereas he could have flown and got there and saved him.
Yeah, he ran up the steps. But Ishmael also walks to the throne like he's going to win. He's walking there by the time Dr. Fate finds him. And it's just like, just run, dude. You could have been done by now.
Oh, yeah.
So he punches him, he dies. Absolutely.
It was the big sack.
Except for his helmet. His helmet survived. Because it needed to. Literally for plot reasons.
Literally, yeah.
So, all that happens. Ultimately, Ishmael manages to sit on the throne and summon the forces of evil. There's some okay-looking skeleton warriors. So these guys have been dead for a very long time. They come up with weapons, and they're clearly soldiers. But Adriana on the street fights them off with this pipe. She just
and then the kid gets a load of civilians who then somehow are winning the fight.
Yeah, which also includes Middle Eastern Rick. As I say, he gives the speech on the steps, but he's not shouting to them. He's sort of just "Come on, we need to fight back." It's like, what?
And then you get another great Jerry scene.
We get Jerry, who rocks up again. We're also once again listening to Baby come back. He runs over skeletons and gets out to help fight. It's just rough nonsense. They fight, and then
when he gets out,
oh, go on.
When he gets out of the car, he says, "I stayed away from electricity," because obviously Black Adam.
Yeah.
No, it's Fate that says that he dies by electricity.
Yeah. And then he goes, "I'm an electrician." Yeah, they fight back. I have in my notes, people fight back, random extra given too many lines throughout, and is always close by.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the fighting's going on. Dr. Fate, in his last moments, managed to get inside Black Adam's head and basically persuade him to come back.
He did also have a whole scene where it was just Tony in his armor, his Iron Man armor.
Yeah. That stupid, inside his helmet look. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
They have that. He's in the tank. He gets woken up by Dr. Fate. He doesn't have his powers, but he overpowers all these soldiers that are guarding him.
Yeah.
He can't say his powers because he's got this thing on his face that can't let him speak because he can't shout Shazam. So he fights his way out. He gets out of the actual, like, he jumps through like this magic wall that stops the water from getting in, and he basically he gets the mask off his face and basically just falls unconscious. He falls unconscious and floats to the surface. And may I add, he survives. He
Oh yeah,
survives. This thing is miles below the surface, so no one can find it. But he blacks out, not even near the surface, and he survives. Like, he hasn't got his powers, he's not invincible, but apparently he's got maximum lung capacity.
yeah, underwater breathing. That's what he's got.
It's just like, what? It's just, how? How do you manage that? So they all do that little thing where they look up into the sky with their hands, and that brings him back. Well, it doesn't instantly bring him back, obviously. But we have another fight scene. Hawkman fights against Ishmael. He gets impaled, like in the vision, but then it's revealed that he used the helmet of Dr. Fate to make magic. So he
Otherwise,
was
that
a
would have been
fake.
the real him.
Yeah. So then they fight a bit more. They have a big punch up again. Oh shit! Nearly knocked someone over.
He does. He
Another.
does a whole Doctor Strange move on him.
Yeah, he uses his copy used to like hold him down and it fails. Ultimately, it doesn't work, and Hawkman is basically defeated for a second. The Black Adam shows up conveniently, grabs Ishmael by the horns, and splits his head in half.
Literally rips him in half.
Like, literally, like,
Yeah, because
grabs him by the
Hawkman's holding him down, ain't he? And then
It's just like,
he uses his concentrated Super Saiyan
yeah, to just
and then
rip
just
this
rips him in half.
brutal fucking kill. It's
And then
just,
just drops him.
yeah. And then that's just it. That's it for the fight. Basically, the climax of the film. They talk, and he's like, oh, "I'm not a bad guy. Like, you need to return back to where you came from, Justice Society." And I'm like, "We will, but you as our prisoner." And they go, he doesn't in the end. He stays in Karnak.
Karnak.
Yeah, that's it. He stays. Credits. I
He
said to
sits
you, I
on the
said,
throne. No, he sits on the throne and goes, doesn't feel right. So punches
yeah,
it and then
just
does more floating.
more awkward floating again.
And
The
then
film
credit.
bank. No. Eamon talks to him and he goes, "You need a new name." Tef Adams a bit outdated, and it like zooms in on his face as if he's going to go Black Adam. He's
And then
literally like,
credit.
if this film was made in 2007, I mean, don't sing it, we'll
What?
get copyright. What I've done. But yeah, credits, and then we have our post-credit scene where Waller like contacts him on a drone and is like, "Conduct is your prison. Like, if you ever leave, we will send people to deal with you." And he's like, "No one on this planet can beat me." And she
I'd like
goes,
to see it try.
"Yeah, he goes, I'd like to see you try." And then it's just, she's like, "Oh, in like," she's just like, "I can say the word and people not from this planet will come." And then he goes, "I'd like to see you try." And
Blows the
then
drone up.
blows the drone up.
And then the Witcher appears.
And then in the smoke, Henry Cavill is back as Superman. He floats down into the smoke, and he's just like, "We need to have a talk." And then he
Black
calls him Black
Adam.
Adam,
I want to
and
know
then
how he
it
knows
ends.
his name. Like,
And then it ends. Movie over.
hell yeah.
Thank God this review has been long enough. As we said, there was no smothering in this film from The Rock except for the dead bodies that he left in his wake.
Yeah. I
And there was a good
would
scene I
give
just
it
realized. let me just review this one thing. There's another scene I completely forgot about. The Eamon nicks the radio so they can find out some nonsense intel, and they corner him. They catch him. Black Adam comes to his rescue, and he duels them like the good, the bad, and the ugly. He duels the same
Oh
checkpoint
yeah,
soldier, and he
yeah.
wipes those dudes. He annihilates them. That's it.
Literally just
That's it.
shoots them all.
He just electrocutes them. He just kills them all. But yeah, that's it.
I mean, overall, I would
Overall,
give it like a 7 out of 10.
I wrote in our notebook, overall, 6 or 7 out of 10.
It
It wasn't,
definitely wasn't a 5. It was
5 was a
better
bit,
than that.
it was a bit harsh. The reviewers, the critics mainly, definitely completely undermined the film.
Oh
As
yeah,
it was what we expected, but we still very much enjoyed it. As you heard in this review, it was definitely a film. It had its
oh,
moments, but except for the pointless filler dialogue scenes, I wasn't really bored.
all the fight scenes were good.
The fight scenes were good, if not absolutely filled with CGI.
Oh yeah,
And Superman coming back as a way of setting up, like, oh, yeah, it's going to be a fight between them, even though The Rock spoiled that. I think when I read up, I think he said it like 6 years ago. Let me have a look, hang on. Future, that's it. In February 2015, Johnson told Total Film that Black Adam would fight Superman or Batman in the future.
yeah,
And Henry Cavill, who portrays Superman, said in April 2018 there were plans for Johnson's Black Adam to face off Superman. So them adding that post-credit scene was fucking pointless. But as we say, overall, it was fine. The reviewers on the internet definitely like made it sound so much worse.
yeah. So much worse than it was. But
It's just
everything apart from the old talking points was pretty good.
yeah, the fights. I think except for Eamon, I think the acting in the film was pretty good.
Yeah,
Eamon had his moments where it was like especially the rallying cry and the to Middle Eastern Rick and all the others. I mean, it's difficult to get like a young actor to do anything decent.
but yeah.
I
But
mean,
I
just
was said he was like 13, 14.
he was young. He was old enough to know that he was like in a film.
Yeah.
But I mean, he still did a better job than the kids that were in Multiverse of Madness. They
Well,
were
yeah.
fucking ice.
We
Uh,
like ice cream.
precisely. Yeah, as I say, overall it was fine. The acting was fine. The cinematography wasn't really anything to write home about.
No.
It was just your, like DC film where it's not cinematography, it's just CGI the whole thing. Yeah, the humor was fine. It wasn't as funny as Shazam, but again, that
It
helps
was.
having
It
a.
was. It did have funny moments in it. To be fair.
It had its moments. I mean, Pierce Brosnan just fully going in on the stupidity of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think we'll leave it there. That's our review. As I say, overall, it was a fine film. It was, as I said to you after, it was definitely one of the films of the year. 6 or 7 out of 10 really wasn't as bad, but it definitely had its key moments where it was just like crap. There was a lot of filler. The
That creep.
were just crap. It's just a lot of on the nose. I mean, the twist of Ishmael being the villain was fucking pathetic.
Oh yeah.
The CGI as well was awful. Let me just have a
Bear
look at the
in mind
budget.
it's, bear in mind it's Warner Brothers.
The budget $200 million.
money they've got. Maybe if The Rock wasn't floating around as much.
Well, yeah, they definitely could have made bloody fucking Ishmael as a demon look a bit better.
Oh yeah.
That's just, yeah, that's it. Those are our thoughts on Black Adam. This fucking video has been long enough.
Oh, it has been.
It's been
It was
over
light.
an hour.
It was light outside when we started. It's now dark.
We started this at 3:45. It is now 4:45, so it's been like dead on an hour.
Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed. I hope our voices didn't grain too much.
That match probably will.
Well, you're probably going to hear more of this anyway because there's films coming out. I think there'll be a Halloween one at one point, just me and my fiance, and then we'll probably do one for Black Adam. Black Adam. Yep, we'll do one for Black Adam. We'll do one for Black Adam when we go watch that, whenever that is.
It will be soon, though.
Yeah.
Will be soon.
Stick around and you'll hear more of our thoughts. And honestly, when we eventually get round to doing the Halloween Ends one, I really didn't like it. So you'll be hearing. You thought my swearing in this was bad. My notes are very like bullet point. Just what hate. Yeah, that's it. That's Black Adam. That's our thoughts, and yeah, that's it.
Stay tuned if you want to hear our shit thoughts.
Yeah. Stay tuned if you want to hear more of us chatting shit about films that have come out.
Exactly.
We've seen the Nova Project.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.